Hello everyone. It's really great to see all of you out here tonight. Each and every one of you really is what constitutes the Syracuse Peace Council. We would not be the organization we are today without this community's passion for peace and social justice. So before we start the event, I'd like to take a few moments to introduce myself and share a few things with you. My name is Danielle. I'm an intern with the Syracuse Peace Council for the summer, and I'm also a student at SUNY Oswego. And this summer, I'm doing a lot of work with the council, and I really enjoy it. Aside from helping organize this event, Poetry Spoken Word for Peace, I'm working with a new project that we started. It's pretty exciting. It's like a brand new project, and that focuses on the war economy, especially at the local level as well as at the national level. And I'm hoping to get more involved with other projects such as Democracy Now! In Palestine, Israel. Let's see. Grassroots organization and the strength of people power have always been the foundation of the Syracuse Peace Council from its beginnings in 1936. Since then, the Council has continuously worked for the past 75 years to replace inequality, hierarchy, domination, and powerlessness with mutual respect, personal empowerment, cooperation, and a sense of community. As the oldest peace and social justice organization in the United States, the Council is proud to announce its 75th anniversary this year. I simply can't stress enough how this would not have been possible without the devotion of our supporters. Your contributions really mean a lot. Let's see. And I'd like to tell you about some of the events we're hosting this summer. We have a lot going on this summer. So tomorrow we'll be demonstrating against the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid at the Syracuse Federal Building at 4 p.m. tomorrow to make sure that local legislators are aware that we want these programs preserved and how important they are to everyone in the area. Then, this coming Saturday, we'll be marching in two parades. The LGBT Pride Parade, which meets at 10:30, and on the same day but later in the afternoon, the Juneteenth Parade, which meets at 11:30. And we would be really delighted if you guys came out and marched with us. Let's see. Additional details about these events and other events, because like I said, there's a lot going on this summer, are available at our website, syracusepeacecouncil.net, and you can always call us at the office about things. So again, I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and be sure to check out the table. It has a lot of literature as well as our monthly peace newsletter. This is kind of a cool one, and there's a calendar on the back, tells you everything that's going on for the month of June. And then also, feel free to grab refreshments. We have baked goods and cookies and water and lots of good stuff. And let's see. Oh, also, tonight, this event, of course, obviously, will be on YouTube later, so definitely check that out. That'll be pretty cool to see. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys. So I hope you enjoy the strength of spoken word, and I look forward to hearing everyone's readings. Peace.
Thanks, Danielle. This is the third annual? Is this our third annual summer reading? And today was the eclipse. Ooh, Brother Omani. How are ya? You might as well have a really big entrance. My name is Georgia Popoff, and I'm a poet around town, and I specialize in working with young people in schools and community settings. I work in K-12 environments, so what I would like to do is start us off with a couple of poems from projects that I have been involved with, or I'm also going to add a poem from a group of young men in Chicago called Purpose of Life. So I'll get us started off with some voices of the next generation to me. This is from a group of fourth graders in Middletown, New York, where I'm in residence. I'm a writer in residence for the district, and after just completed 6 years. And let me set you up a little about what we did. This was an English language learning class in which they were pretty much bilingual in the classroom, and they were looking at examining identity for the purposes of what is common to us and what is different. And one of our conversations, since 65% of this particular school is Spanish-speaking from many Central and South American countries and Caribbean island nations, we were talking a lot about the fact that America is not defined by the United States of America, that America is two continents drawn together. So we are all Americans. So in our investigation, we were talking about anything that was something that was common to two or more people was a we statement. Anything that was unique to an individual as we compared our likes, where our parents were from, what books we were reading, what food we liked to eat, what we wanted to be, what our dreams were. If it was a unique statement that nobody else said, that was an I statement. This is called we are, I am. We are Mexico. I am Honduras. I am India. I am Egypt. We are Puerto Rican. I am American. We are American. We are Ciudadanos. I am an immigrant. We are blue as the clear sky, melting icicles and deep oceans. I am red as hot lava bursting from an erupting volcano. I am yellow as lemony gum. We are a rainbow. I am a color. We are breakdancing hip-hop. I am gospel at church. I am soothing jazz. We are rhyming rap. We are music. I am a song. We are sweaty basketball jerseys at Madison Square Garden. I am shorts and sandals on a tropical island. I am a soft blue bandana on a farm. We are new. I am worn. We are the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe. I am C.S. Lewis. I am Goosebumps. We are fiction, mysteries, and biographies. We are readers. I am an author. We hope to be a police officer on a SWAT team. I hope to be a rich and famous baseball player. I hope to be a biologist. We hope to be teachers. We are a job. I am a worker. We dream that we are skateboarders and wonderful teachers. I dream that monkeys are chasing me. I dream about eating pizza at Chuck E. Cheese. We are dreamers. I am a child. We share this dream with our families. I share this dream with my mom, dad, brothers, and sisters. I share this dream with no one. I keep it a secret. We share our thoughts. I share my imagination. I love that. And then the next phase of that project, there were 3 poems. The next phase of that project was the 5th graders who had done the poetry and video project with us the year before rendered the 3 group class poems to animation, stop action animation. So if you go to Children's Media Project, Maple Hill School, you can see the 3 videos on the internet. They're really fabulous. Okay, so let's get us started with the list. And for this evening, let's start with everyone can have a couple of poems, and then we can do a second round if the moon hasn't blinded us too much and the sky hasn't gotten too dark. But we'll start first with 2 poems each. And we're going to start with Mikara Mugo. Oh, she's not here yet. Okay, so we're not going to. That means that Eric left here yet? Ah, Eric. Eric, come share some words and some thoughts about peace and the beauty of the world, okay? Thanks.
Being naturally disobedient, I'm going to read 3, but they're all very short. This is a poem called Such Silence by one of my favorite poets, David Saxton, from his book Into the Cool, his 6th book of poetry. Such silence. The silence at mind's end knows no other. Such silence need no longer bother with mind's storming poles of self and not self. Life's bitter partings and sweet conjoinings are no longer present in this world of such silence. Such silence is there in every point where mind conjoins with the mystery of no mind. Where is the point where mind conjoins with no mind? In the self's convergence with knowledge and time. There is such silence in the ceaselessly present answer that to know is to be. The next poem is called Woman with a Comb. It's from Deborah Bowe's 2nd book of poetry called The Girl of the Early Race. Woman with a comb. This hair, oh, it is larger than I am, larger than the comb. The ends alone are accessible. The geese in the yard distract me, and the pear tree too has its flowers. When did it grow to this? Hair with thistles, with weeds, in one night. My arm moves over it and does not comprehend. And finally, one of my own, which was published last year in the Taj Mahal Review. It's called Race Relations. I went up to the white man and said, "Didn't you used to be a black woman?" He looked at me like I was from another planet. Well, maybe I was. But on my planet, we are defined by the space we occupy, not by who our parents were. And he was in the black woman's space. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I think you broke the rule last year too, right? No? Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thinking that you were here in this circle last year. But thank you again. Another round of applause, please. Thank you. We do it for the claps. Notice there was an S in the end of the word. Our next poet will be no stranger to most of us, and certainly a pleasure to my ear every time I get to listen to Brother Omani Abdallah.
Let's see here. This is a poem I wrote. I understood the theme was to be about war. So this is a war poem, and then if we go around again, I'll share some other things. But I call this Modern Day War. War certainly ain't what it used to be. I don't know that much about the wars of the past, excepting for Vietnam, but today's wars are certainly different. Like I asked my friend the other day, "What did you do last night?" And he said, "Oh, I stayed home and watched the war." He said it like it might have been an episode of Friends or Frasier. We interrupt this program to let you know that 3 Americans were reported killed, but don't worry, we killed 97 of them. Now back to our regularly scheduled program already in progress. But how do you just go back? Well, you do with modern day wars. A reporter just told me 100 people have lost their lives. I can't go back to what I was doing. Because now I am thinking about the parents and the aunts and the uncles and the brothers and sisters of these 100 people who just lost their lives, who can't go back because their regularly scheduled lives have been permanently interrupted by this modern day war. Okay. I do workshops with young people, and often when I give them an assignment to do while they're writing, I also sit down and I write with them. So I asked them once if they could choose any day of the week that personified their personality, what day would they choose? And some of them would say, "Oh, I'm Saturday, I'm Tuesday, I'm Wednesday," and so forth. So they were writing, and while they were writing, this is what I wrote. It's called "What Day Would I Be?" Today wasn't too bad. Even though I lost something of value, it wasn't the end of the world. I found myself smiling at some of the little things in life, things that too often we take for granted. We shouldn't, but we do. Even like today. Sometimes we don't appreciate the moment until it's too late. That's what I think. So if I had to choose a day to be, I think I might like to be tomorrow, because today wasn't so bad.
So, Omani, I kind of came like trying to erase war from my brain. So I'm thinking only peace, I guess, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to do, right? The rhetoric right now is frightening. I had an interesting thing happen to me. I was told that I could not get a job teaching in classrooms in Central Square. Get this. The Central Square School District, somebody's decided that I have been promoting witchcraft, and they will not let me teach in the school district. And I'm kind of confused about what to do about this. Because, I'm kind of confused about the fact that it's not 1600. And I'm kind of confused about the fact that somebody would keep a poet out of school because they're, practicing witchcraft. Really? And that they didn't talk to me about it. They've made this decision. So I'm kind of confused about how come I'm not going to earn some money at what I do so well. And I'm kind of confused about whether or not I go to the attorneys, the ACLU, the State Labor Department, and the Board of Ed and take it very seriously, or if I just say fools. I'm kind of confused. But the conversation is very confused in the United States of America these days. So our conversation is critically important at this point in time. That's a public service announcement for being open-minded. Our next lovely and important voice for the evening is Michere Mugo. And I still did it wrong. Michere. I'm sorry.
Can I do two? Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for organizing this event, all of you organizers. It is really so important that we continue speaking peace, even when those who wage war do not hear us. We just must continue, and more so in a more determined way, because we know there is no other way. I'm going to read you two poems. One of them short, the other one a little long. Both of them require your participation. So please, will you cooperate? Okay. This one is called The War on Iraq, but it's asking for peace, so don't panic. And so I'm going to ask, when I say we say no, I would like you to come in and say stop, no more war. We say no, stop, no more war. We say no, stop, no more war. We say no, stop, no more war. Thank you. The land of the Iraqi is ripped apart by superpower bombs dropping democracy from warplanes. On the barrel of the gun, the mighty play war video games on millions of innocent lives, waging their war on terror through terrorizing the other. Liberating and civilizing through the terror of the machine gun. We say no, stop. No more war. Iraq is one massive heap of human rubble. A reign of terror now envelopes Baghdad. Saddam I has begotten Saddam II, and the once beautiful city of Baghdad is no longer a home, but a wilderness overgrown with bush. A superpower bombs drop democracy to liberate and civilize through terror. We say no. No more war. We say no more war. Women and little girls scream and fight back as their vaginas are ripped apart. Abu Ghraib is torn by the screams of tortured captives, subdued by uniformed women in patriarchal trousers, holding hounds on leashes to police other people's freedom. We say no. Again, we say no more war. We say no, stop, no more war. And then this one is called plant a tree. And when I indicate to you, please say plant a tree. Plant a tree. Again. Plant a tree. More affirmatively. Plant a tree. Thank you. Poem composed for and recited at a tree dedication ceremony in honor of Professor Wangari Maathai and other women in the Kenyan people struggle, including myself, at Lemoyne College on June 24th, 1992. On this abundant Lemoyne soil nurturing trees of unassailable knowledge, on this Onondaga native soil endowed birthright from immemorial dawn, on this bounteous Onondaga land trampled upon by Christ of Columbus 500 years ago, we who refuse to stampede on humans, soil or plant a tree. Again, a tree of resistance and struggle, a tree of justice and equality, a tree of dialogue and love, a tree so defiant of drought and plunder that no human-made disaster can shake it, a tree with roots anchored so deep that no living distraction can uproot it. Plant a tree. Side by side, you and I will water the seedling till our tree is full grown, till our tree is forested with thickets of branches stretching out, reaching out south, north, east, west, holding the leaves to the sun, till in knowing rhythm they dance to the tune of the humming wind, till our tree is forested with thickets of branches stretching out, reaching out, beckoning to the birds of the air as they swim across the sky, inviting the passing travelers to build nests, make nests there, exhorting them to sing in high soprano songs of nature, entreating them to bathe in the wooing, streaming rays of the smiling sun. Plant a tree. Shoulder to shoulder, you and I will water the tree of humanity till it is full grown, till its flowering stuns the world with loveliness, till natural beauty merges in fusion with human beauty, till no child cries tears of hurt, tears of hunger, till all Onondaga children return from America's wild reservations, walking proud on Onondaga native land. Plant a tree. Hand in hand, you and I will water the tree of sisterhood and brotherhood till the tree is grown, till the tree overwhelms the soil upon which division grows. And the grown tree will have a shade so encompassing, no heat wave can touch it. A shade so embracing that unborn generations shall shelter there, 500 unborn years to come. Plant a tree. 500 unborn years to come, unborn generations shall shelter there, unmolested by ogres of imperialist greed. Unborn generations shall shelter there, playing in freedom, sleeping in peace, singing in triumph victorious songs from joyful, overflowing hearts. Unborn generations shall shelter there, whispering healing words from tongue to tongue, human voice to human voice. Unborn generations shall shelter there, basking under soothing calm, thriving under unconditional love, timelessly living, being, becoming. Plant a tree. On this abundant Lemoyne soil nurturing trees of unassailable knowledge, on this native soil birthright from immemorial dawn, we who refuse to stampede on humans, soil or plant a tree to recreate a history, releasing torrents of life-giving rain upon 500 tired years of Christ of a Columbus discovery drought. Plant a tree. Plant a tree. Plant a tree. Thank you.
Dr. Mugo, thank you for your bold and compassionate voice in this collection of voices. And if some of you have arrived who intending to share a poem by yourself or someone else, and you're not on the list yet, please be sure to stop by my shoulder and pat me on the back or whatever to get it. All right, talk about bold voices. Talk about consciously dedicating life to voice and the voice of others, fostering the voice of others. There is no one who excels in that more than Jackie Warren Moore.
Good evening. No, y'all can do better than that. Good evening. Take a look at this night. Good evening. Okay? I have two poems, and one also requires, as Dr. Mugos does, requires your participation. And that's nothing new. That's something that's ages and ages old. Call and response. Okay? So this is called The Message. When I finish, I'll point to you guys, and I just want you to say, just peace. Okay? But with a little bit of power. I always do a rehearsal first. You got it. The message of the universe is peace. Quiet as a mouse, powerful as a lion's jaws in the cosmic scene. As strong as blue silk fibers woven across an angry man's heart. Soft as cotton and newborn baby breath. Spoken or shouted, played or written. Words as healers, not arrows flung in anger. Water falling, trickling across your soul's edge. Just peace, not politics or accepted meanness. Peace, peace, and just us. This next piece is called Following the Lead of a Young Magician. This poem gonna be the mother, father, grandmother poem of the week. Gonna be so cool it freezes the July beef on city streets. Gonna be so real, children of murder victims don't have to read the details in the morning newspaper. Gonna be so slamming, 50 Cent gonna talk about making love, not sex. Gonna be so vitamin enriched, kids don't go to bed hungry at the end of the month. Gonna be so fashion conscious, kids can pay less and walk tall in any clothes they wear. Gonna be so gentle, daddy don't beat mama no more while the kids watch. Gonna be so truthful, it's gonna be so truthful the government don't lie to the people who own it. Gonna be so brave, it's gonna shout about the truth and about injustice and the lives it devours. Gonna be so long, it wraps around and strangles racism in a hangman's noose. This poem gonna be so spicy, it spews all the right words to soothe wounded souls. Gonna be so educated, it makes smart bombs dumb and disarms them. This poem gonna speak when I wanna shout. This poem gonna be consciously peaceful in a world of chaos. This poem gonna grow legs and stand on its own and speak, speak, speak. Peace.
Love that. Love that. Okay, I feel my juices coming now. I feel it. Thank you. Woo! All right. I have to put in another public service announcement because that's kind of my job, you know. There is a conversation happening about teachers that is very unkind, very unhealthy, and a downright lie. It is that teachers are the problem rather than the solution. It is that teachers are not doing their jobs for our youth. It is that teachers are messing up the future of America rather than raising the future of America. It is a lie. If anybody ever says to you in conversation in the elevator or in the grocery store or in your extended family's picnic that teachers have an easy job and what's the problem anyway, excuse me, you need to stop that conversation. That's what you can do to be a peacemaker. Teachers are raising our children under unusual and restricted environments that are not fair to them, not fair to the children. Teachers are not the problem. Governor Scott Walker needs to know this. The governor in Indiana needs to know this. The governor in New York State needs to know this. Arne Duncan needs to know this. The teachers are not the problem. And if you want to help the stimulation package, ask Arne Duncan, like I have, to give every teacher in America a check. $500 for a suburban school, $1,000 tomorrow for a rural or urban school. That will stimulate this economy because it will go right back to office max for paper that the schools can't provide and pencils. It will go to the grocery store for the food that teachers bring into their classrooms for their children every single day. It will go to the dollar store for every single thing you can get for $1 that your classes need. Teachers are not the problem. They are our solution, and we need to be vocal because the media and the government is telling us lies about them. That's my public service announcement. And back to the peaceful place. Huh? Oh, that's so embedded in me now, David. That's my rhetoric right now. Any chance I get. My blog, any microphone I get in front of, in the grocery store, don't tell me a teacher has it easy. You go do it. That's my other part of the public service announcement. Let us start a new thing. If you want to be an elected official, especially a congressperson, a senator, you have to do 2 weeks service in a classroom with a pre and post test approved assessment. Okay? What? Yeah, anybody. You get elected to anything, try 2 weeks in any American school right now. I do it. I teach 2,000 kids a year. I know what it's like. All right. Now that I've gotten that out of my system, and I'm a sweetheart again, Andy Major, it's your turn.
Lovely to see lots of folks here, familiar faces and new faces. I'm going to read a couple of pieces. The first is by Grace Paley, who was a wonderful writer and activist involved with the War Resisters League, which is a group that I've been connected with for many years. A very strong woman, passed away several years ago. Not taught very much in our schools. This poem is called Responsibility. It is the responsibility of society to let the poet be a poet. It is the responsibility of the poet to be a woman. It is the responsibility of the poet to stand on street corners, giving out poems and beautifully written leaflets. Also leaflets they can hardly bear to look at because of the screaming rhetoric. It is the responsibility of the poet to be lazy, to hang out and prophesy. It is the responsibility of the poet not to pay war taxes. It is the responsibility of the poet to go in and out of ivory towers and two-room apartments on Avenue C and buckwheat fields and army camps. It is the responsibility of the male poet to be a woman. It is the responsibility of the female poet to be a woman. It is the poet's responsibility to speak truth to power, as the Quakers say. It is the poet's responsibility to learn the truth from the powerless. It is the responsibility of the poet to say many times, there is no freedom without justice, and this means economic justice and love justice. It is the responsibility of the poet to sing this in all the original and traditional tunes of singing and telling poems. It is the responsibility of the poet to listen to gossip and pass it on in the way storytellers decant the story of life. There is no freedom without fear and bravery. There is no freedom unless earth and air and water continue, and children also continue. It is the responsibility of the poet to be a woman, to keep an eye on this world and cry out like Cassandra, but be listened to this time. Grace Paley. The second piece I'm going to read is from a book that's not thought of as a poem, but The Prophet by Khalil Gibran in many ways is a book-length poem. And this is a piece that I think speaks very powerfully to something that is so lost in our culture of individualism and the sense that we're all sort of isolated, and it speaks in really powerful ways to me about the fact that we're all connected, that none of us truly can succeed and be happy as long as there's misery and injustice surrounding us and our world. So this is kind of in the middle of the book. Oftentimes have I heard you speak of one who commits a wrong as though he were not one of you, but a stranger unto you and an intruder upon your world. But I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the highest which is in each of you, so the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest which is in you also. And as a single leaf turns not yellow, but with the silent knowledge of the whole tree, so the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. Like a procession, you walk together toward your God-self. You are the way and the wayfarers, and when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him, a caution against the stumbling stone. Aye, and he falls for those ahead of him, who though faster and surer of foot, yet removed not the stumbling stone. So, as long as I'm up here, I'll also put in a slightly different kind of public service announcement. Some of you know perhaps that I work at the Peace Council. I'm one of our 4 sort of paid staff people there. And we struggle to make ends meet to carry out our broad program of work that Danielle spoke about earlier. And we're always looking for ways to support that. And so we're going to pass around a basket and would welcome any contribution you can put into it. If you're not in a position to contribute anything, please pass it on without any sense of guilt. If you're in a position to contribute a few coins or a few dollars or a lot of dollars, we would warmly welcome it. So, thanks.
Andy, thank you. This is the 75th year, right? Yeah, 75 years and still a reason to keep going strong. Yeah, that's sad. And always remember that there are, if you get on the mailing list, all the events, all the reasons to stand up and be counted that the Syracuse Peace Council sponsors, which is weekly. There's at least one event a week where you can have your bodies be the voice of your expectation for peace in our nation and our world and our community, not just the craziness that we're experiencing now. So, Andy, thank you for everything you and everybody does on a daily basis. Every cell of your body. All right. Ms. Abrams, are you ready to take this microphone away from me? Looking so lovely. Jackie Abrams is going to share. Who are you sharing tonight? Alice Walker. Woo!
This is from her book, The Absolute Trust in the Goodness of the Earth. This is by Alice Walker. This poem it's kind of short and simple, but not really simple, but it's kind of short and very loaded. So this is called Winning. The smallest child understands. Anyone who terrorizes us is a terrorist. Anyone who steals from us is a thief. Anyone who loves has won. Thank you.
A little history about this space. This used to be a farm that was mostly fruit orchards in the 1800s. And it was the mansion was where the playground was. and it burned down in the kind of mid to late 1800s. And they built it again, and it burned down again. And this was the family's trout pond. Fish swam here. And after the family died off, because there were not heirs, and it became the property of the city, this became the amphitheater, and I think it was in 1923. Is that right, Marie? 1923? Yeah. And the night that they opened this amphitheater for performance, there were 10,000 people who were here to celebrate this space. So this is like sacred performance space, but it's also where the fish beings used to live. And it feels so nice, you know? And then in the WPA, people had work because the government put people to work making our country beautiful. So these stones were laid by talented and wonderful hands. And there have been people here ever since. And every year in June, we come together to celebrate peace together. All right. Okay, there's people here I go way back with. You know, like Jackie and me, we go back like longer than we cared our hair dyed to tell you. Amani and I go way back. And then I go way back with our next poet to read. Mr. McMaster, are you ready? Terry McMaster and I used to be college kids together. Look at how good we look now. Terry McMaster and his words.
Can I tell them how we met?
Sure. It's not X-rated.
You know, in college, when a whole bunch of students live in a house and just like, who even knows what was going on? There was at least 8 students living in this house. And we saw each other once in a while because it was so big. And the second floor bathroom, there was like mold or mushrooms or something growing in the shower stall. You know, I mean, we didn't clean the house. Yeah.
He didn't tell you I was the only woman living in it. Where was this? Oswego.
Yeah. Okay, so this is not exactly a poem. It wasn't written by me, but there's a flavor of me in it. It was probably not written down for a long time. It's from oral tradition, and it was done in a different language originally, so I'm going to give you my version of the original language and then the English translation of it. And there's one part of this that I want to focus on specifically. The modern traditional version of this wisdom statement goes something like, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Or in some versions, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So, does anybody know what the significance of the Aramaic language is? Aramaic? Anybody? Right. It's the language of Jesus. So, this is the way that prayer, poem, wisdom statement sounded. Might have sounded something like this originally. Arun debash maya, nit kaddish shemach, tete malkutach, nechwe sivyana aikana, debash maya af ba'al'a. Havlan lachma desun kanan yomana, wash boklan habain, Wakdahain, Akanadahanan Shwakan la Hayabain, Wela Tahlan Lenasuna, Ela Patsan Min Bisha, Matur de Lahi Malkuta, Wahaila, Wutishbukta, Latlam, Almin, Amen. Now, that work of understanding the language and being able to translate it was done by a guy named Neil Douglas Klotz. And I have some copies of this if anybody wants one afterwards. So the English translation as he has given it, and this is only one version, because many of the words mean several different things, so you could actually translate it differently all the time. Every time you picked up the words, you could translate it according to the way you felt that day. So this is his version with some of my little changes. O breathing life, your name shines everywhere. Release a space to plant your presence here. Envision our empowerment now. Embody your desire in every light and form. Heaven and earth, light and form. Grow through us this moment's bread and wisdom. Untie the knots of failure binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' faults. Help us not forget you, our source, and free us from not being fully present. From you arises every vision, power, and song. From gathering to gathering. We affirm this with our entire being. May our future actions grow from here. That's it.
And those mushrooms growing in the bathroom, they were like that big. It was no like small deal. They were like real mushrooms. You know, I was thinking about, what can I make with this with pasta? No, maybe not. The guys didn't necessarily honor the mushrooms in the bathroom every day, you know? What you do in college just to get through, right? You know, we had great parties, though. And I made more waffles. We burned out a waffle iron. There was always waffle mix. You know, it was cheap. You know, that and Fort Schuyler beer, 89 cents a six-pack. 38 years ago. Next poet to read for us is Lena Gluck. Nice hat, Lena.
All right. Oh, just tip it. Tip it. All right. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Sounds good. All right. So I'm Lena Gluck. I'm going to be reading a poem that I wrote. One night, as my brother and I spoke to each other with a bulb turned dim, causing warm brown light where the night would otherwise have it black, we began to discuss what a person was, and what life was, and how those two connected. We went around in circles at first, both of us re-explaining our views over and over, not understanding why the other was repeating themselves, laughing out of tired frustration. Eventually, though, we made a breakthrough, and began to answer what the core of someone actually was, what made them someone instead of someone else. Was it biological? Was it psychological? A person was a collection of all their memories, and how they think, and who they identify themselves as. A person is the life in that body. No matter how you change and grow, it is still the same. If a person loses every memory they have with no hope of them returning, the person is dead. I would be dead with someone new in my body. If a person loses every memory, the person is dead, but I am not. I go on living as a new person. Is this an issue of personality or of awareness? Can it be both? We wonder and try to see from the other's mind. Are there multiple parts to a life? Is it possible for one of them to outlive the other? And as I think now of the soldier whose mind is never the same, returning home to loved ones, who grieve the loss of who he was, has that young man who left died a death just as the man beside him did, shot through the chest on a hot day? If there are multiple ways to die, it is one more reason we need to treasure not only the person that we are, and our connections and our memories, good and bad, to everyone and everything, but we need to fully appreciate just how it feels to breathe and to touch the smooth white walls and the grass wet from dew, the soft fur of a kind creature, the water still in a lake. How it feels to have perception of sound, of birds chirping and communication, and waves and cars and vegetables being chopped for supper. To see things around us, to smell them, to taste them, to ultimately be aware of everything around us and to be aware of ourselves, and that we are alive and that we will one day die. If there are multiple ways of passing away, it is all the more reason for honoring life in its vast complexity that no one can quite define. It is all the more reason for peace and for celebration and for love.
This is fun. I forget. Back in the 90s, I was the slam master in Syracuse, you know, and I used to do this every week, and we'd be slamming and screaming and hollering, having a lot of fun, being crazy and indignant. A lot of indignant, you know. We're indignant poets. One would rip up our journals in front of each other and, you know, throw down with our poetry. So I've mellowed a little bit. And fortunately, we got people keeping the flame for us, Seneca and Cedric, and, you know, giving places for voices for people, you know, because I'm kind of doing other stuff right now. I'm writing. That's what I'm doing. Okay. One of my favorite people to share words with us about poetry and about peace and about knowing the beauty of the planet. One of the people I know who honors this planet every moment of her life and has been teaching other people to do it for a long time is our beautiful and wonderful Marge Rusk. Surprise! Marge, come on up and do it for us again. Probably should have given you the heads up, huh?
I'm taller than you think I am.
I know. There you go. How's that for perfect?
First of all, I have an item on this program that wasn't planned. I thought I was going to read one or two poems from a favorite German poet that I translated into English, and one of those will come after this. But what I've just got to tell you all, this is a perfect bunch of victims to hear this. And Andy has already heard it, I know, a couple of times. When we're having a meeting or discussion about the over-commercialization of Christmas, it reminds me of the story one of my best college friends told. She and her parents were Hitler refugees, and she didn't know English very well. She's very gifted at languages, but it took her a little while to exchange a German accent for a Hartford, Connecticut one. But anyway, back in those days, they had the Lord's Prayer every morning in school. And at that point, my friend Gerda she knew what the Lord's Prayer was, but she didn't understand English perfectly. So what she heard everybody say in school was, "Forgive us our Christmases as we forgive those who Christmas against us." And now, one of what I like to do sometimes, instead of writing a poem, is translate one, which takes a certain amount of skill. You don't want to write your own poem. You want to put the German poet's poem into English, but you don't want to be too literal either, or it's not a poem anymore. It's not. So it's a matter of balancing the literal words and the meaning. As an aside, I find it easier to do this with German than with other languages because so many of the rhymes are the same. Really makes it easy if you know some German, whether I got mine from a wonderful German teacher in college or from a previous existence, I don't know. But anyway, here's one of my translations from, I guess, my favorite German poet, Richard Demel. And this is called The Bell in the Sea. A fisherman once had 2 fine sons. Often this song for them he'd sung. There drifts a wondrous bell in the sea. The believing heart rejoiced shall be to hear the bell a-chiming. The one said to the other son, "The old man's becoming a child again, singing that stupid song all the while. I've heard many a storm the ocean rile, but never no wondrous bell." The other spoke, "We are still young. He sings out of deep remembering. I think one must many voyages endure to see the great ocean with vision pure. Then likely you'll hear it ringing." And after the father was in his grave, the blonde-haired sons both sailed away. Gray-haired, they met again in port one evening and thought of the wondrous bell. One son spoke, ill-humored and old, "I know the sea and its force untold. Plagued by that ocean, near death been laid. Excellent catches, however, I've made. Ringing heard I never." The other smiled with youthful eyes. "I've got only my memories. There drifts a wondrous bell in the sea. The believing heart rejoiced shall be to hear that bell a-chiming."